Hello, folks. We are live. Pull back the music a little bit. All right, I see us, and I think I hear us. Pana, as usual, give me a quick sound check, please.
Hi, Sam.
All right, I hear you good. Okay, so we should be ready to roll. So, welcome to Tuesday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on whenever or wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to Code It Live. As you know, this is our channel where we talk about just about everything we are passionate about. We talk to some really smart folks. We code about a bunch of different technologies throughout the week. I start out Mondays doing CMS with a friend. We do podcast recordings. We do Wednesdays are for React and UI. Thursdays are for Xamarin and XAML technologies. And we end Friday with a chat show. But today is Tuesday, and today is super fun because we get to dive into Unity and AR and VR and all kinds of fun stuff. So this should be really fun. At least for me, it's a big learning curve. I'm new into all of this, and I'm learning. And I'm learning from an expert. So my name is Sam Basu. I am a dev advocate here at Progress Software, and I'm out of Pennsylvania. And with me, I have my good friend Panat Kankov. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm awesome. Thank you. And I'm here from Sofia.
Yeah, Pana is from Sofia, Bulgaria, and we are together on the same screen through the magic of technology, which works for the most part, but sometimes we have issues. But hopefully, our connections can hold this conversation. Pana is actually our premier expert when it comes to all things AR, VR, and 3D and visualization. So I'm super excited. Just to give you a little context of where things are. So we started off Unity Tuesdays probably 3-4 weeks back, and every week I started learning more and more about Unity. And coming from like a heavy C# background, doing desktop and web and mobile dev, it felt very different. Like we were writing loops in C#. We were writing little functions that Unity game engine will just call into and do things. And the whole physics interaction with your world is very enticing to me. So we did that for about 4 weeks, but now I think we are ready to hand it off to the expert. So you're not bored with me learning the basics anymore. So today, actually, you're looking at Pana's desktop. So before we begin, let me set the stage a little bit as to what we are trying to do. So we host a pretty, well, I'm biased, but I think a pretty fantastic conference, a tech conference called DevReach. This happens every year in Sofia, Bulgaria. It's a premier EU conference, and it's actually been happening for the last 11 years, so it's been a while. And we are very proud to be able to host and bring in so many sharp minds from all over the world, amazing speakers, and more than 1,000 people attend. So it's a great conference. I think we were also going to bring it to the US, but then 2020 happened, and as you know, things are difficult, and we all want to play safe, to be in person. So we are actually still working out the plans for 2019 EU version of DevReach, but rest assured it will not be the way we have hosted it for the last 11 years because of the global pandemic. So we are pivoting, and we are hang on. Pano, you can still hear me, right? Skype was complaining about poor network.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so whatever we end up being, I think we may kind of slice it up into different technologies and go that way, but we want to build in a little bit of what we can do, a little bit of a world in VR where we can hang out maybe at the end of a long day. We can just kind of all be a little more social. We can gather around and have a little fun talking to speakers, interacting with other attendees, and so on. So, with that in mind, starting today, I've had like 4 weeks, like I said, of learning just the basics of Unity. Starting today, we're going to try to build a little world, and we'll take baby steps. We have until October to get this right, and I'm going to let Pana drive, and we're going to try to build something fun in Unity and for VR. So, Pana, is that everything we wanted to say up front? Did I miss anything?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Awesome introduction.
All right. So let's start. And where do we even start? You tell me.
Okay, so we start again with Unity.
Okay.
And we will create a new project. Here is the deal though. We can select each version of Unity we want to use. I think this is the latest stable version. Now, Unity, the list several different rendering pipelines recently, but now we will stick with the old rendering pipeline. I'm going to name it the Reach 2020, and I think that's fine. Okay. We'll create a new project for this.
So one question I had was when you were creating the project, you picked 3D, but there was one other thing which was the universal rendering pipeline. What was that?
So Unity, there was a single way to render things, but it didn't work very well because they support both mobile devices and high-end PCs, gaming consoles, and they needed a way to enrich the gaming platform with high-definition graphics for PCs and with high-performance graphics for mobile devices. And they basically made most of their rendering public in a way that you can extend it. So we are sticking to something that is now going to be obsolete in the future, but you can also create a project. I'm just not very confident that we want to go for the universal.
Okay. While we're getting started, I think it was VTJ Suave. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate all of you. Okay, so I see Unity, and I see just a basic editor, which I'm actually comfortable now, because like when I started, I didn't know anything about what I was doing. Like I now understand scenes, and I understand assets and projects and the timeline and the inspector. So, okay, so this is a blank canvas. We are starting from scratch.
Yeah, so basically here is the hierarchy. One thing that's different from the last week is that I like to keep my project in a list. It's a little bit compacted. Okay, if we want to virtual reality, integrated something. Called Excel plugin management. They have Excel interaction systems. Basically, before the whole VR thing was like easy, but they started to split it into features. What we need to install now is basically these several Excel plugins.
Okay, so looks like all of these packages are actually made by Unity, right?
To some extent, yes, but we also can see here the Oculus XR plugin. So these are plugins that are official, supported by Unity. They are tested by Unity, but there are third-party vendors that provide their integrations to Oculus XR plugin. So these are where the packages are, and the project settings here that I just opened has this XR plugin management. We're going to install the XR management system.
Okay. What is XR as compared to like all of the other AR VR type views or plugins?
Well, there is VR and AR,
Yeah.
virtual reality. It is surprised that renders a synthetic world for you. So everything is computer generated. AR, you use something like glasses that augments the real world. It adds virtual or computer generated images on top of the real objects. And XR is basically the mix of both. It turns out that a lot of the interactions with both XR and AR, with VR and AR, are similar. For example, you can have hand interacting with objects with your hands. So it made perfect sense to unite these two systems. Okay, we're going to work with the Oculus Quest, so I need to
Yeah, so yeah, hang on for there for a second, because like this is what both of us have. This is the where's it, the Oculus Quest, right? So you picked Oculus, but I wanted to ask you, like, what difference does it make to this plugin in terms of like the support for Magic Leap or mixed reality? Like, does it do things in your project that is particular to Oculus?
No, and this is the best thing about Unity. So we just enabled the XR, and after we enabled the XR, we added the Oculus integration, which means that you will be able to build this project and deploy on Oculus devices. But you can just as easily click Mixed Reality, and this will install the integration for Windows Mixed Reality. Now I have something like the reverb to set that's going soon. You can use the same code base, the same project.
Okay. But I have a couple more questions. But before we go on, like I have your audio completely maxed out. Like, can you check your Skype if your audio is completely up, like the volume level? Microphone. Yeah, I don't think it lets you do that. I mean, if you have like more gain or anything on your microphone, so if you can bump up your volume a little bit.
I don't know why, but it switched to my laptop microphone.
Yeah, see, your audio wasn't very good. Now you sound better.
Yeah, awesome.
And bump, like on the microphone, is there any like volume knob or gain knob?
No, but let me just.
Or maybe just bump up your speaker and your system volume all the way up.
Input, okay. Test your microphone.
See that master volume right there? That one is really low.
This one?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what. Okay, so how is it now?
It's much better. It could be a little more louder if you can. But I mean, it's
okay.
Yeah, it's already much better than what we had. So sorry about that. I should have pointed out. And Skype does these things, like it has algorithms of figuring out like which thing is the active. I suppose the active audio in or out, and it does things. So yeah, you're good. You can minimize the Skype window, and we can get back.
Yeah,
to Unity.
Okay. Let's go on.
Yeah, I hear you just fine now. Yeah, we're good.
I've connected my Oculus Quest device here with a USB cable, and it basically has a microphone on its own and speakers that are integrated into the headset. Often when I connect it, it will add these devices to the PC, and some of the programs will switch the active microphone speakers.
That could be one of the reasons. Okay, so I don't think I heard the last explanation that you gave, so I'm going to ask one more time. So in your XR plugin management, you showed me like a folder that was for Oculus, like on the left hand side. Yep, see that Oculus and then Windows Mixed Reality. So when you check those boxes, it's turning on those folders. Is it creating different folders?
Yes, when you check these checkboxes, basically Unity will download a few additional plugins from the package manager and install them in the project. And yeah, they will provide integration for the various devices.
I see.
And platforms.
I see. Okay, so like if you have a project that is just for Oculus, you really will not have a good experience if you use it from another mixed reality or another VR type device. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, for example, if you build for Steam VR, you may be able to use this with the Oculus Rift device because there are other layers of compatibility layers, like you can use a Rift with Steam, but the best thing to do is to build for each platforms, for each specific platform, and yeah, this is where you can actually add support for them. So,
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, before we move on, just like a quick side note, did you see, Pana, some of the things that, I mean, these are all rumors, but did you see what Apple might have in the works? Like they're talking about AR type glasses. So again, complete rumors, but I thought they were. I mean, it's Apple, so they have a design aesthetic. They try doing things right. So hopefully, in like 2021, we will see Apple glasses. Who knows?
Yes. So in the past, Apple announced that. Well, they didn't announce, but there were rumors that they are working on AR and VR devices.
Yeah.
But they're relatively closed, the vendors, so until they actually ship something, we will not know for sure. No. I believe that if they create glasses, they will not be bulky headsets, but will basically look like sunshades.
Yeah, and they were talking about including like, you know how we have like prescription lenses included in that. So like that is the only thing you wear all through the day. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see.
Yes. There are a lot of technologies that emerged around this AR and VR. I think there are like 3D printed lenses now that can embed electronics.
Wow.
So I believe that it's very much possible to embed electronics in the glass of prescription lenses.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what will be the actual Apple device. There are also rumors that say it will be more like the Apple Watch. I mean, it will not be something that will fully augment the world, but it will be able to show notifications and messages without
you
requiring you to. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's all guesswork right now, but this is an exciting space to be. I think everybody is pushing for the next like socially acceptable means of doing AR VR. So you don't look so like you could actually literally walk around the street with one of those things on your face. So, okay. So one more question before you get started. And sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions because I'm new to this. This is all exciting to me. Now, one thing I had to do when I was doing the Unity projects was I had to set Visual Studio as my core IDE, and I had to generate the projects. So do you already have that in your settings? And I mean, did it already create the Visual Studio solutions?
Yes, I did. No, I haven't created the Visual Studio solutions, but once you set up Visual Studio in the preferences, it will basically
generate files for you. Yeah.
It should be professional, actually. Okay. It will generate the files for you. Look, as soon as you basically create a script.
Sure, yeah.
And try to open that script, Unity will figure it out and launch the Visual Studio for you. It will create a solution and a project file. Well, yeah.
Visual Studio. Well, no, it's not going to ask you to sign in. It looks like it already has it.
I used to work on. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
So you have the project and the solution generated. You can check it in the dev.h folder where I created the Unity project. Unity created the assets folder where you keep all the scripts and the textures and the 3D models. And they are like library logs object files where they are temporary things like build artifacts and stuff. The packages will contain this manifest JSON with information about what things are you using from the package manager and project settings. And this is the C# project. It will reference the files directly from the asset folder from the scripts where just added them. Okay, so there is, last time we created something like a plane and a box and configured the main camera to look at the sphere that you can control with your keyboard.
Yeah, that was so much fun for me, just like doing it for the first time, to be able to give something gravity and integrate that with the mesh and let it fall, let it collide. So this is quite fascinating to me.
Yes. So when you're working with XR, the thing is that the VR devices will track the position of your head and will move the camera to match your head position. So I've installed the XR interactions from Unity Package Manager, and I'm going to convert the main camera to XR rig.
So you don't have to like add another different camera for the VR view. You're just converting the main camera to being an XR camera.
Exactly. Now, if I save this, what we will see is the XR rig. This is something commonly known as a tracking space. When you launch the device, it will position the virtual world in a way that it will match the real world, and when you walk around, the camera will basically move. So this camera offset object will start changing its position, and because the main camera is a child object of it, it will move too. But if you want to go to another room, for example, in the virtual world, you can basically get this XR rig and move it in the Unity. You can change its position, and this will basically move you into the virtual world. So last time you also worked on an example with a racing car. You can
Yes.
basically drag this thing into the racing car, and the car will move the XR rig, and the player will feel that they are running the car and they're
Nice.
inside.
So let me understand this one more time. So since you added the Oculus plugin, so essentially you have the I guess the plugins that can sense the same motion detectors that Oculus has. So essentially, when you move your head,
Yes.
Oculus detects that you have done that, and it what does it do? Like it fires off events that the Unity engine can listen to, and the XR camera realizes that you moved your head. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So this is the device. The device has 4 cameras.
Yes.
It will create a 3D image of the room and capture some key points in that room. So when you move the device, when you move your head, these cameras will figure out the position of the device. They will send this to Oculus, and the low-level Oculus APIs will basically communicate this with Unity, thanks to the Oculus XR plugin. And yeah, and Unity will move the camera offset object for you. We can give it a try. I think at the moment, if I basically click play, since this project has been enabled for VR, I should be able to. Okay, do you see it moving?
Yeah.
Okay, for me it looks like the floor is standing still on the ground, and I can turn around. But what you see is what happens with the camera.
Wow,
So,
this is pretty sweet. Like it takes out a lot of the math and the calculations. Like it gives you that feedback immediately that it's moving.
yes, absolutely. Okay, so I've been wrong. It's not the camera offset that moves. It's actually the camera moves. You can see the position changing in play mode here. And interesting.
So I have a question. Like right now, the camera is like looking down on the plane. So
Yeah.
if you placed an object on that plane, and so I'm trying to think, like if you had placed an object on the plane, and if you just kind of walked around in a circle with your Oculus, like what would make it focus on the plane and just kind of have you walk around that?
Let's do it. Okay, I will create a new 3D object cube like this. So when I click play, I did a few things. I moved the rig at the center of the scene. The Z component was -10, which is 10 meters away. And at the moment, I think that you can see the cube here. If I move to the left or right, yeah, you can basically move around the objects.
Yeah.
Let me make it a little bit smaller so you can. But the lighting of the scene is not very good, so.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we're just starting, but it's good to see what's doing. Okay, it's right there. And when you move around, you are looking at the cube from different angles.
Yeah,
nice.
You can.
Very nice.
Okay.
So, like right now, the reason why it's doing that because you change the camera to be focused on the sphere or on the cube, right? You said you put it on the center, the camera.
Yeah, I moved the camera at the center, but
Okay.
The camera will look where you are looking.
Where I'm looking. Yes. Okay.
So,
yeah, this is fascinating to me. I know, like, this is probably nothing to you since you've been doing this for years, but this is quite amazing.
Yeah, so let me. This plane is, I think it's 10 by 10 meters. It's pretty big room. For DevReach, we wanted to do something like a room where the people will socialize. For example, they'll be able to talk with each other, or play some games and interact. Right?
Yeah, that'll be amazing.
And we will also try to create the spirit from the Sofia office.
Yeah,
We're
that'll be
not going
amazing.
to build it perfectly, but let's see what we have. So one of the rooms that we have has dots, so we can prepare some space for dots here. And let's add another.
Okay, and
we
while
also
you're doing
have something
that,
like-
I have one quick point to make, and then I have a question. So, sorry about my my voice today. So what Pana is describing here is something I am a huge fan of. We actually have our engineering offices for all of the Telerik stuff that you see, and a few other products that we make. The engineering offices are in Sofia, Bulgaria, and it's one of my favorite offices. It is just amazing. It is so modern. It is so technology driven in all of the things it does, and just the space just oozes like productivity and confidence. It's so relaxing and so amazing. So we have an amazing game room, which is I think on the 6th or the 7th floor. Is that right?
Yeah, on the seventh floor, I think.
I don't know how you all get work done, because if I were in that office, I'll spend all my day in the game room, because it has pool, it has ping pong, it has drinks, it has a beautiful balcony that looks out into the mountains. It is an amazing space. So that would be a great experience if we can create at least some of it in VR. So I have a few questions as to what you are thinking of doing. So I see that you added a few planes, and
Yeah.
I see you added one for cafeteria, one for table tennis. So this is all like flat, right? So how do you create like a vertical plane? Like if you had to give it a wall, how would you do that?
You would use a 3D modeling program. So my suggestion is let's just create a basic floor plan today,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
and for the next session, I'll try to build something like a 3D model of the space. You see, all of these planes are represented by vertices. These are points at the edges, and these vertices are combined into polygons. This is basically a triangle. So you have one triangle here and another triangle there, and this is how you create a model. The difference between this and something that actually has a vertical space is that you have additional triangles and their y components are not flat. I mean, it's not just zero for everyone. But you can use programs like Blender that 3D authoring tools, and I just don't want to launch one now because...
Oh, no. Yeah, you don't have to change anything that you're doing. I was just curious, like, this all seems like on one dimension, so clearly we need to do something else. Okay, and
Yes.
one more question. Like, I see that you put, like, 3 planes, like, next to each other. Like, because you kind of put them next to each other, like, does Unity know that, like, could you walk, like, if you had a character, or if you had, like, a 3D object, could you go from one plane to another?
No, we will have to add a locomotion system. Basically, locomotion is describes how you move, and for XR there are various ways of moving. Oculus has these touch controllers. They have joystick, and
Yes.
basically there are several ways of moving in VR. One is you can basically stand up and walk in the room, and because the VR device is moving, you actually move in the virtual reality world, but this only works in a few meters, and if you're in a seating experience like I'm sitting now on a chair. It doesn't work in big spaces. So for big spaces, you also can do two other things. One is to use the joystick to move into virtual reality space. So basically, you push forward and you start to move like when you're playing games and tap the W. This thing here can cause motion sickness.
Yeah.
Because the movement in the virtual reality and the movement into the real world are different, and your eyes will read one thing, and your inner ear will say that you're doing something else, and that basically causes motion
confusion.
sickness. So there is a third option that you again use the joystick, but you teleport. But these teleports will require us to point at the floor, click a button, and teleport there. But we will have to add this to the project.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that can all be stuff you build slowly. But I was just curious. So folks, like this is the controller that Pana is showing you. Essentially, the joystick has like a little thing which you can like move around just like any other game controller. So that's how you move around in space, and then it has a few buttons as to how you teleport and then move around. So like there's a left and the right. They're almost similar, but they're different in terms of their buttons and what they all do. At least for Oculus, both of us have a Quest. But it's interesting that you're placing the planes, but Oculus still obviously doesn't know the continuity of things, because it's, like you said, it needs like a locomotive engine, you said?
Locomotion.
Locomotion, okay. All right. So much to learn.
Okay, so this will be there some out space like a terraces in the office, and this here is like this is a presentation room. This is roughly the layout in the office, and maybe we can make a 3D model that resembles the space. Here are the elevators, but because we're in VR, I don't think that we need elevators. We can do something else here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet what. Okay. Now we have some floors, but we will need to make this look like real space, and to do so we will need lighting, and we will need a locomotion system for you to move, and 3D models of the space that I will set up something for the next week.
Okay.
You know what? Something else that I have here in this repository, I have some pictures taken from the office on the floor.
Ooh,
so nice. We can try to import these in Unity and apply them on the floor.
I like it. Yeah, this was like again, just some history. Like our offices used to be in one building, which kind of looked like a ship for like 10 years, and I used to be fond of it. It was unique. Like there was it was like a hollow in the middle, so you could stand on one side of the building, and for you to get to the other side, like there wasn't a direct way. So sometimes you'd have to go down or go up and then cross over. So that was a fun place to be for I think we were there for 10 years or so. And then we moved into a new office, which was 3 years back now is when we had the new office. Yeah,
2 and a half maybe.
So I think what you're showing is we spent a lot of time getting everything right so that people really felt nice walking into that space. So all of the textures, the walls, the cubes, the standing desks, everything is kind of custom done. It's an area that I'm so fond of.
Yeah, I love the office. I mean, I I really want to go back. Currently, we're
Yeah.
working from home, and I miss the cafeteria. I miss the view.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Okay, so I dragged and dropped a few textures
Can
and
you
the assets.
show me how you did that one more time, please? Like, how did you drop them?
I'll just remove them. So when you import, they are JPEG files, and you can basically drag them over an object.
Okay.
Once you do this, it will create a material. Basically created this material with assigned the texture for the albedo color here, and then moved it to this this property slot here. And it's a really easy way to assign materials now. Yeah, you can just drag and drop them. But there is a problem. For example, these real pictures from the office, so it's and the plane is like 10 by 10 meters, while the photo is of something that's probably 50 by 50 centimeters. Now this is very big, very grainy texture. When you're making 3D models of the office, we'll have to figure out how to texture it properly, and these will tell, because this plane here is bigger than the other one. Currently it looks like it's scaled. I mean, the grains are with different size, but it's a good start.
Yeah. Now, does Unity have any intelligence built in? Like, if you take like a JPEG that is flat, and if you try putting that on top of like a sphere or a cube, like what will happen? Like, would it put it on the plane? Does it know that it's flat and needs to go on the plane?
This is a very good question. No, Unity doesn't have these intelligent systems. When you're making a 3D object, artists have to hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
I think I lost you.
I'm here, I can hear you.
No, I don't hear you, Sam.
Did your hang on, could your batteries have died, like in your ear? Like
when you're a 3D artist and you're making models, you have to apply UV coordinates. That's basically the triangles that I talked about here. They have information about what piece of the texture should be applied to this triangle. If we add a sphere, so just let me.
I hear you just fine. It's
Okay,
just you're not able to hear me. Okay, check. Can you hear me?
Добре? No, все още I don't hear you.
You don't hear me. But I hear you just fine.
Okay, I hear you now. You'll have to check what happened with this. How is the audio actually? I'm not sure what happens with my mic now. Maybe there will be an echo.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of an echo, but It's not the end of the world.
Okay, so
And also, like, did your microphone get switched? Because you became a little more muted.
no, I didn't switch the microphone, but I can check it again here. Where is it? Audio and video. No, it's the right microphone.
Okay, and you had like a system volume, like in your settings. Maybe move that up a little bit. I think it was like Windows 10 settings screen.
Okay, where is sound?
Yeah. No, master volume is up to 94. Yeah, move it up to 100 just to get whatever else we can get. Yeah. Alright, I hear you fine.
Okay, so what I was talking about is if you create a 3D object like a sphere and apply the same material on that sphere, it will basically use something called UV coordinates to help texture on the sphere. So it's made of little triangles. Each of these triangles contains information about what part of the image should appear over the sphere. For example, this it works like a world map. It basically wraps it around the sphere. Now, if you have something like a human body, probably it will be exactly like a t-shirt. Basically, you will have one image that has the front and the back of the t-shirt, and in the triangles for the body, there will be information about what part of the picture and what part of the 3D model should appear.
I see. Yeah. No, it's understandable what Unity is doing, and it's in a way it's interesting that you can give it a texture and it just kind of wraps around. So, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So there are different types of textures. Currently, we only set Albedo, but I think it should be good enough for the office. When we create a model of the office, we'll probably add ceiling and lights.
Mm-hmm. So, like right where you have the hollow where the elevator is, like we could maybe perhaps envision a thing where like that's how you enter the world. Like the door opens and you're out of the elevator, and then you can look to your left or right and go either way.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a good idea. Normally here are the elevators, but we can basically make something like lobby and do some sort of experience like you are entering from the elevator. You can grab a t-shirt, for example.
Yeah.
And from that point on, you will see the rest of the spaces and the people that are in.
I love it. I love it.
Awesome. Now, how are we going to grab something? We have created the camera, but there are also controllers. So I want to do something here, like add another cube, but a small one. And even small, okay, 10 by 10 by 10, and I think from these XR interaction things from Unity, there was direct pulse driver. Nice. This is a special script that can move the object. It will change the
I'll try to
position of the transform.
move a little away so people can see. So this is the tracked pose driver.
Yes.
What does it do?
What it does is just like the headset knows its position and moves the camera, this little script will figure out the movement of the left controller and will move this little cube here. So, okay, I have switched the track pose driver to track the controller, the left controller. It will affect position and rotation, and it looks nice. So this is the left controller. I will create one for the right controller as well. Okay, and I'm not sure that it will work, but let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we see the office space, basically.
Mm-hmm. I love the texture of how the floor is looking like.
Yeah. And okay, do you see the cube?
Yeah.
Along with my controller. So this will basically be my hand. I'm not sure where is the left one, but maybe it's out of batteries.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's working. It's recognized the controls.
yeah, it works and it's pretty interactive now.
Yeah.
Do you want to try to make something interactable? Like you can add the table and the ball that you had in the last session. For example, if you add the 3D object and drop a big cube here, and probably we can create another sphere, but smaller. How was it? Rigid body. We did a rigid body, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can add the rigid body, and now the gravity and the physics will affect it. It will probably fall on the table there. Now, if I launch this, I'm not sure where we will put that table. So this another table. Yeah. Okay, so the table is behind it, but I can.
So before you do that, I have a curious question. Like, since that's a cube. Hang on. Network issues with Skype. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, good. So since you have that cube, like it's like the edges of the cube, and then you have the floor, which obviously the edge is higher. So when you drop the cube, like, well, I mean, gravity will obviously be there, and you might have added the bounce. Like, will Unity know when the thing is rolling and when it falls off from the cube to the floor?
No, you will not know that it fall from the floor, but there are APIs that can detect collisions.
Sure.
And there is something like collision enter and collision exit. So if something is on the floor and suddenly it falls off, it will stop registering collisions with the floor. And you can basically do a script that will check the Y component of the ball on update, and if it becomes something like -1,
right,
obviously it's falling.
It's on the floor. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so. Okay, so. Do I have my? Okay, I have my hand. I have the ball, but I have to punch my monitor at the moment, so I won't interrupt. Oh, this is why you need to add the locomotion thing that I mentioned.
Yeah, and we can get to this next week. I mean, this is decent progress for one day. Oh, see,
Absolutely. So
that's what I was talking about. So, like, I see what you're saying, like, once it falls off the floor, but Unity does detect that you're falling off the cube. Like, the bounce is off the cube and then it rolls off. I don't know if you saw that, but, like, that really just like it did do the bounce after it fell from the cube.
yeah. So if we're going to make we can make it bounce. I will add the physics material. Last time we did that. Okay, so materials, physics material. This will make it bounce. Nope, I cannot take it there. But bounciness.
You're just like so much quicker in Unity than I am, but it's just you've done this for so long.
Okay, so what I did is I created a material. Now when I worked with the images, adding the images to objects created basically rendering materials. What I just did is I created a physics material.
Mm-hmm.
You can affect the physical properties of the bodies using these kind of physical materials. And here is the sphere. Since it's a ball, I created a material that has bounciness, and I'm going to assign. Okay, I assigned it to its material property. So probably now when it falls from the table, it will bounce a few times on the floor. Again, it's too far away. Okay. Where is my controller? So,
You're not in play mode yet, are you? Oh yeah, you are. Yeah. Oh, nice.
it bounced once.
Nice. I love it. I love it.
What we're going to do, we're going to add interactions. So you can probably grab the ball and I don't know, we can add something like tennis balls.
Yeah, I think like ping pong might be too difficult, but we can definitely add like some throwing and catching type things. You know, you and me have both used Alt Space VR, and they have like, I mean, it's also not like super crazy what they have done. It's like they have things like rockets which we can launch, and it'll just go and explode somewhere and make some like confetti. So yeah, I mean, like they say, literally the world is your oyster, and whatever you can imagine to build. All right, so I think Pana, this may be a good place to pause for today. I think we envisioned what we are trying to do. So it's going to be a VR world that we're going to use during DevReach conference. And what we're trying to do is bring on a sense of being in a really nice office where you have a game room and you can move around, you can come out of the elevator, you can go to these different rooms and interact with speakers, interact with other folks at the conference, and have a little fun. All right, so yeah, Pana, we talked about a whole bunch of things we could start building out. Obviously, the locomotion and the locomotive thing, the 3D rendering of the walls, the ceilings, everything, and just the experience of being in that space and being able to move around. Oh, and you also said like for us to go from one plane to another, that needs the locomotive thing as well, right? Locomotion.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm excited. So I think we have it's end of July, so we have probably 2 solid months, and we don't have to do this like 1 hour each week. It sounds like we're disrupting our flow a little bit. So we might do like a couple of days of like longer sessions, and we can start building out these things quite a bit. And when we get to scripting, if there is anything like with the collisions and things like that, I mean, I can help. We obviously have Visual Studio Live Share. So while you're doing stuff in Unity, I mean, I can try coding things up in like Visual Studio or VS Code, and then you can see my changes as well.
Awesome.
All right, I am excited. I love this. I love these interactions. I love what we can build here. So this is very exciting. All right, folks, I think that's going to be it for today, but you get to see the promise of what we are doing, just building out a VR world for a tech conference and having a little fun along the way and learning. For me, it's just big time learning along the way from an expert. So Panna, I want to thank you for taking an hour of your time to come and start building this with me, and hopefully in the next couple of months we can really make this nice and polished. All right, folks, that's it for this stream. We love you all. We appreciate you. So whenever your time permits, come and join us throughout the rest of the week, and we shall see you next time. All right, bye for now.
Bye-bye.